All right, I promised to review some practice pads, so let's do that. Let's do that right now. All right, so I have a bunch of different practice pads, and I'll go through them and explain what I like about them. First off, we've got the Real Feel. All right, this is kind of like your classic practice pad. You know, it's what you expect out of a practice pad. The hard rubber feel has just the right amount of rebound. Whenever I'm using my practice pads and I'm using them at home where I have a snare drum, I like to leave them on the snare because you get that little bit of snare buzz, which makes it sound a little more realistic. So there's not much not to like about the Real Feel. You know, it's a great pad, but, you know, it's kind of limited. Now, you can flip it over. There's a bit of a harder surface on the back. You can hear a difference in the sound. You can definitely feel a difference. But so that's the Real Feel. They make them in multiple different sizes. I actually have a smaller one that I can throw in my bag when I go places. And I love them. They're great. Made by Evans. Next up, we've got the P4 pad, designed by Petrillo and sold through Drumeo. Now, I love this pad. You know, I don't love it for everything. If I'm going to be doing, you know, just basic rudiment practice, practicing a snare solo, I'll probably use a different pad just because I don't need the levels and I like to have the whole surface be the same when I'm doing that. But the way Pat designed this was great. It's got 3 different levels and 4 different surfaces, right? Each surface is a different material, a different rubber, and so it's got a different rebound and a different feel to it. Also has a different sound. So you have the blue, which is basically your classic kind of like the Real Feel. It's your classic feeling surface that you would do most of your snare playing on. Now over here with the gray surface, it's softer. You don't get as much rebound from it, so it's kind of like your floor tom. You got to work a little harder at. Over here, you have something that's kind of in between these two, in both sound and feel. Kind of like your rack tom. It's not quite as tight as your snare drum, but it's certainly not as loose as your floor tom. And then up here, you have the hardest, and it's kind of like a cymbal, right? Now, I have students who love to practice all the time on this surface. You can obviously do whatever you want. But the great thing about this, and I recommend it if a student comes to me, they don't have a drum set yet, this is what I recommend before you get a drum set, because it really does do a remarkably good job of giving you the sense of movement because of the different heights and the different areas and the different sounds and the different rebounds. You know, you can really get a fairly good workout as if you were playing the drums. Now, of course, it's not going to be the same because it's not spread out that way. It doesn't have the exact feel or the exact sounds. But for a practice pad, it does a pretty good job. All right? So, like, you know, you can do your fills around. I like to practice my diddles sometimes. I like putting the singles on the toms and then the doubles on the snare. So that's the P4. Great all-around pad. Great pad if you don't have a drum set, right? It will give you that initial sense of moving around. So love that. Another great option, and fairly new to the market is the Prologix. Now this is the Prologix All-in-One by Russ Miller. Now this gray surface here, it's kind of like the gray surface on the P4. Makes you work a little harder. And it's a little softer, and it's a little softer in volume. Now the way this is made, it's got removable surfaces. I'm going to get to this one last because this is my favorite, right? So the main surface, the green surface, that's your traditional hard rubber snare drum, what you would expect out of a practice pad. Has a great feel. It's well made. It's American made. I love that about it. All right, now some people play on the back. I don't think I'm ever really going to do that, except for right now, of course. Yeah, it's kind of got that in between feel. And the other thing about this, it's got the rim. The way the rim is designed, I'm not really using it so far for rim shots, but fairly realistic feel to it. Now, my favorite thing about this all-in-one is this guy here. Now, this is designed for brushes. Brushes on a practice pad, you say? Yes, I say. And it sounds great. And this feels like it will never wear out. But they are replaceable. All of these surfaces are replaceable. So that's the all-in-one Prologix. Now we got a couple other examples down here. Older examples. When I was a kid, I had an entire practice pad set of these. Made by Remo. It was a Remo practice pad kit. Now this is basically a real drum head. So it gives you a very real feel of a drum head. Nice rebound. It's got some foam underneath it. Downside is it's not that quiet, and a lot of times when I'm practicing with a practice pad, I'm practicing on the pad because I can't practice on the drum for volume reasons. So this will not solve that issue as much. And then we got this Ludwig, which is kind of the same thing. It's basically, looks like it's designed the same way. Kind of a real head feel. Now this is meant to be mounted, as you can see, on a cymbal stand or some kind of stand, so it's not, you know, it's bouncing pretty bad. And again, you can hear it's not that low in volume. So it's also going to have that issue of possibly annoying some people when you're trying to be quiet. Now I've also got this little Gibraltar guy, which I was using in the car the other day, which I absolutely love. Now it's got the basically that classic feel of the hard rubber, of the real feel, or the all-in-one Prologix. But it's so small and it straps to your leg. So you can take it anywhere. You can throw it in your pocket, which I do all the time. Take it anywhere on the go and you got yourself a practice pad. also we've got, now I have a whole practice pad kit of this set up over there. It's made by DW, and again, the same kind of hard surface that you would expect from a pretty traditional practice pad. And I really like these. I like playing on that kit. You know, again, when I'm down here and I can't be making much noise, I can still actually play the kit. So that's awesome. And also, I forgot to bring them over to my drums, but I will add them to the end of this video. Vic Firth makes these tips that go on on the end of your sticks, and they'll fit most sticks as long as it's not too big a barrel, like you know, the Dom Femularo sticks. They're not going to fit on the end of those sticks. His practice pad sticks, the Bunkins style stick, but most other regular sticks they'll fit on, and that turns pretty much any surface into a practice pad. Now, sometimes my wife doesn't appreciate me playing on the coffee table, but it doesn't hurt it. It really doesn't. So that's my practice pad spiel. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what you're playing on and what you prefer in a practice pad. All right, so I told you that I had forgotten about the Vic Firth to have them over at the drum set, but they're actually better demonstrated on the desk anyway. This is what they look like. They just pop onto your edge of your drumstick, and any stick with a reasonable bead it will work on, and you can play on any surface. Now, try not to do rim shots on your furniture, but other than that, it's actually pretty cool. So those are the Vic Firth practice tips. I highly recommend them. They come in 2 packs, so I got two sets all set up. One comes with me on the go. You know, you're in a hotel room, you got a practice pad. You got these babies, you got a practice pad no matter where you are. I'm not sure I'd do it on a glass table, because if you miss with rim shots, you could be in some serious trouble. But other than that, these are great. All right.